The DA says it is pushing for the introduction of a bill that would change the way coalition governments are run. The two bills are expected to be tabled in the National Assembly. They include the number of times a motion of no confidence can be brought in a year against political leaders. Joining us is a DA Member of Parliament, Werner Horn. Werner, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us on the Daytime Update. I wonder if you heard that clip, and if you could respond to the ANC saying that it's not willing to work with the DA when it comes to coalitions.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for the invitation. I heard the clip. Mr. Mbalula, in essence, I think, confirmed the analysis of our federal leader, John Steenhuisen, when he recently announced the possibility of forming a moonshot pact in the run-up to election 2024 and identified the possibility of an ANC-EFF coalition as a doomsday scenario for South Africa. And I think Mr. Mbalula just now confirmed that that's indeed the way the ANC is thinking in terms of election 2024. So a spot-on analysis from our leader, confirmed by Mr. Mbalula himself.
All right, well, let's talk about these bills. Initially announced, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 or 7 months ago by your party leader, joined, of course, by Solly Malatsi as well as Siviwe Gwahobe. At the heart of these bills, of course, is an attempt to secure the future of coalitions in South Africa. Talk to us about the significance of these bills as you would see it as the Democratic Alliance.
Indeed, we do agree with the ANC about the fact that the current regime that is governing coalitions is obviously not effective. We have introduced the two bills, the one firstly introducing a threshold. Mr. Mbalula also referred to that. Before a party may qualify to take up seats in a municipal legislature, they must, if the bill is to be adopted, qualify for a full seat, so no party can come in on very small fractions. And then the second characteristic of the bill is to limit the number of times a motion of no confidence could be brought, saying that in a scenario where a motion of no confidence has been brought unsuccessfully, defeated, that within the next 12 months, exceptional circumstances certified by an independent panel, similar to the one that must find that good cause has been shown to embark on impeachment processes in Parliament, so that would be actions inconsistent with the Constitution or the law, misconduct or incapacity on behalf of the office bearer. If an independent panel certifies those circumstances to be in place, then those would constitute the exceptional type of circumstances which could then enable a second motion of no confidence within a 12-month period. We believe these two measures would go a long way to stabilize coalition government and prevent the type of disruption and really the type of situation where service delivery is the furthest thing away from everybody's mind. If there is this constant introduction and actions around motions of no confidence, just aiming at power rather than service delivery.
Right. It's interesting, Werner, that, as an organization, you would target motions of no confidence. I think we can both agree that there are important instruments of accountability when it comes to effective governance. I was in conversation with Colleen Makubele earlier on our program, and she was quite critical of parties like Action SA, like the Democratic Alliance, bringing forward motions of no confidence against the sort of multi-party coalition that she forms a part of. What do you say to that? Because it does seem that your own party in these coalition politics, at least, enjoys the power and the tool that a motion of no confidence really is when it comes to effective governance.
Yes, well, the good news for Makubele would be it comes into law. at the moment, with the regime as it stands, of course, it is so that in the case of Johannesburg, for example, similarly, I believe with Tshwane, not even council rules limit the amount of times in a specific year or period in which motions of no confidence could be brought. The problem, of course, with Councillor Makubele is that in describing herself as a leadership figure within the coalition, she undermines the very essence of the role of the Speaker, who's supposed to be the custodian of council and an impartial office bearer who facilitates debate and ensure that council processes are set up and managed with some measure of integrity. And in that sense, it would be an interesting aspect if her decision to see herself as part of leadership of the municipality rather than the council, whether that in fact would be seen by an independent panel as inconsistent with the law and the constitution.
Yeah. I mean, the point that I'm trying to get at here, Werner, is that these are tools, these are instruments of governance that you, as the opposition, have enjoyed in the past. And one would argue that you're attempting to curtail those powers in targeting these measures with these bills. I mean, your former leader, Mmusi Maimane, raised several motions of no confidence against the former president, Jacob Zuma, during his tenure as party leader. Again, does it not come across as hypocritical to try and diminish, or at least curtail, rather, perhaps is the better use of the word here, the powers that opposition parties have in ensuring accountability when it comes to effective governance?
Yeah, look, I think the issue of can be answered in the following way. What will be good for the goose will be good for the gander if this becomes law. So, yes, opposition parties will be limited in using motions of confidence as an accountability measure, but similarly, where we are in opposition and in power, we will be equally subjected to the measures if it becomes law. I think the private members' bill is really the product of a realization that in situations where, and you referred to it right at the beginning of our conversation, we are faced with hung councils. Destabilization and really an inability to perform the most basic of functions of a municipality could be brought about by a quick succession of motions of no confidence, specifically if you unfortunately, because of the fragmentation of our politics, are forced to take on board parties who really are in it only for themselves and have no principles or no interest. No idea to really look after the interests of residents and to deliver services. So that realization has changed the whole landscape and has, in our view, necessitated these private members.
All right. Your own Siviwe Kohube has argued that this issue is a non-partisan issue and in essence doesn't expect a lot of pushback when it comes to putting forward these bills. But I wonder if in your approach you have been equitable, as in how much consulting have you done with other political parties as to how they would feel with regards to these particular bills moving forward in Parliament?
Yeah, look, so where is the custodian of these bills? In my conversations with her, it was quite clear that there is a growing realization that both in terms of very basic thresholds, not the type of thresholds we see in Europe, but the threshold of at least reaching a full quota to take up a seat in council, as well as managing coalitions better. There is a growing realization amongst all political parties that if this is not going to be put in place, our residents, our citizens will not only suffer, but will their disillusionment with democracy and the systems of democracy might just grow into a situation which might become unmanageable. So in saying that all political parties might will necessarily embrace the bill as it stands now. But maybe once again, just referring to Mr. Mbalula's comments at the beginning, it's quite clear that the ANC-NEC has also realized that some new regulatory framework must be brought about, and they've also talked about two important issues, the one being thresholds and the other that it cannot be a situation where the biggest party within these coalitions must be at the mercy of very small parties who wants to double dip in terms of tapping into coalition arrangements with different formations from one day to the next.
Werner, thank you so much. We are going to have to leave our conversation there for now.